This wall is dedicated to the stages or steps of genocide. Genocide is an ongoing process in the world today. It's happening all over the world. And genocide, actually the word itself, was created when Winston Churchill said, we have a crime with no name. We have a crime without a name. It's a crime against humanity. What shall we call it? And it is murdered, sanctioned by the government, sanctioned by the state. And that gave us the word genocide. Well, first, you have to classify them. You have to classify the them. Who are the them? How do we know who they are, and how do we determine who they are? Well, in the genocide that occurred during the Holocaust, the them was determined by the Nuremberg racial laws, which, by the way, are based on the Jim Crow laws. If only 2 grandparents were Jewish, just 2, then you have, that's the them. That's how you classify them. And so that was in the Nuremberg laws. That's classification. The next step for genocide would be we have to develop a symbol to identify the them. So for Jews, the symbol was the star. So we have some stars. One belongs to Clara Schwimmer, who's right beside it. And that picture is from the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. She was a Tucson survivor. In Cambodia, under Pol Pot, the blue checked scarf signified the them. That was the symbol for the them. You had to have a ready-made symbol, and it had to be on a conspicuous place on the body at all times to identify the them. Now, if a society stops the stages of genocide here, there's a chance that we won't descend into full genocide. But if we go into the next stage, which is dehumanization, then you are going to have to deal with a full-blown genocide. We dehumanize through propaganda. And here are some examples of propaganda. And propaganda is controlled, again, by us, by the state, by the government. And propaganda, these are pictures of propaganda during the Nazi Holocaust. The next stage is organization. This is when things start to come into play. This is organization. This is getting ready for the actual genocide itself. It's organized in a collective way by governments, militias, or hate groups. Once the society is organized towards the genocide, polarization occurs. So the voice of the moderates are gone, and you have only the most succinct leaders, and in Armenia, in Cambodia, in Rwanda, and of course during the Third Reich, those were the voices that were listened to and were heard, and the moderates were eliminated. After polarization, preparation. In Nazi Germany, preparation, the concentration camps. There were 2 kinds of concentration camps: work camps and death camps. Also remember, most of the railroads in Europe went through Poland. So the Nazis used this to be able to organize in the best way possible how to murder as many Jews as possible. And so it was quite a killing machine, and very, very well documented. There were over 30,000 concentration camps. Then the actual extermination. This shows the actual crematoriums. It shows the bodies being put into the carts and brought to the crematorium. We have to keep remembering what an organized system this was. 2 out of 3 Jews in Eastern Europe were murdered. So if you look to your left and you look to your right, those people would be gone by the end of the war. To me, this is the most important stage of genocide. This is denial. That never happened. There's no proof. So this stage is one we really want you to understand, because you have to recognize that this happened in order for it to have a conception of it. And so many people today do not even know that the Holocaust happened.